Have you ever noticed that the most hurtful moments in life don't come from strangers on the street, but from the people we love, trust, or care about the most? A harsh word from a close friend, a careless remark from family, or even silence from someone we expected to stand by us, these things cut deeper than anything else. And in that instant of pain, our natural reaction is to fire back, to defend ourselves, to prove our point. But often, the words we say in the heat of that hurt become weapons that hurt us more than the original wound. Life is not about reacting instantly, it's about responding wisely. Between the moment someone hurts you and the moment you respond, there is a sacred pause. In that pause lies your strength, your wisdom, and your true connection with God. If we react right away, we lose that wisdom. If we hold the pause, we allow God to guide our words, our actions, and our emotions. And sometimes the greatest victory is not in the answer we give, but in the silence we keep. When someone hurts you, the very first instinct is to respond right away. The sting of those words, the sharpness of those actions, makes the heart beat faster, the mind heat up, and the tongue itch to speak something back instantly. But wisdom begins with understanding that the very first reaction is not always the right response. It is in that tiny pause, that sacred gap between the hurt and the reaction, where your true strength is hidden. Think of it like this. When boiling water is stirred, the bubbles rise aggressively to the surface, splashing everywhere. But when the heat is lowered, the water calms down, becomes still and clear enough to see your reflection. The mind is exactly like that. If we keep stirring it with immediate reactions, it will always remain cloudy, filled with waves of anger and restlessness. But when you allow yourself to pause, even for a few breaths, clarity slowly returns. And in that clarity, wisdom is born. Many times in life, we regret what we said in the heat of the moment. How many friendships have been broken? How many relationships damaged? And how many opportunities lost simply because we didn't wait before reacting? Words spoken in anger are like arrows released from a bow. Once they leave, they cannot be taken back. They hit, they wound, and they leave scars. And when we calm down later, we realize that our response was bigger than the hurt we received. That is why the pause is not a weakness. It is the most powerful form of inner discipline. It is saying to yourself, I will not let this hurt control my behavior. I will control myself. Imagine a workplace situation. Your boss or colleague unfairly criticizes you in front of everyone. Instantly, your mind wants to defend itself. Your ego wants to fight back, and your tongue is ready to throw sharp words. If you react immediately, you might say things you will regret, and the respect others have for you may slip away in seconds. But if you hold back, breathe, and allow the storm inside you to pass, your response later will carry much more weight and dignity. That pause saves not only your reputation, but also your peace of mind. Or picture an argument at home. A loved one says something harsh out of frustration. If you reply instantly, the evening turns into a battlefield. But if you give yourself space to calm down, you may realize they were tired, stressed, or carrying their own pain. That small pause prevents a small hurt from becoming a huge conflict. The pause does not mean suppression. It does not mean you ignore your feelings. It means you give yourself permission to feel the hurt without immediately acting on it. You let the fire cool before you decide what to do. And sometimes, in that pause, you realize you don't even need to react at all. Silence becomes your greatest response. Other times, the pause helps you find the right words that heal rather than harm. This practice is not easy because our conditioning is to fight back. But if you observe nature, you will see its wisdom. After the rain, the clouds do not argue with the sun, they quietly move aside and the light returns. The tree, when shaken by the storm, does not throw back its branches in anger. It bends, it waits, and when the storm passes, it rises again with the same dignity. In the same way, when life shakes us with hurt, the pause is our way of bending without breaking. It is our way of protecting our own dignity and rising stronger once the storm passes. This pause is also deeply spiritual. It is the space where you allow God's voice to whisper louder than your ego. In the heat of pain, ego screams, react, prove yourself, hurt them back. But in the silence of the pause, the soul whispers, wait, you are bigger than this moment. You are not what they said or did. You are what you choose to respond with. When you pause, you invite God into your response. You say, "Guide me. Give me strength not to act from my lower self, but from my higher self." And every time you do this, you rise one step higher on your spiritual journey. Think about the times in your life when you reacted too quickly. Didn't you later wish you had paused? Didn't you feel that regret that comes when words spoken cannot be taken back? And now, think of the times you held your silence, the times you allowed yourself to wait before speaking. Didn't those situations resolve themselves with more dignity and peace? That is the evidence of how powerful the pause really is. So the next time someone hurts you, whether it is a stranger on the road, a colleague at work, a family member, or even a close friend, remember that your real strength is not in your ability to strike back instantly. Your strength is in your ability to hold your tongue, to breathe, to wait, and to allow the moment to pass before you decide how to act. The pause is not weakness. It is control. It is wisdom. It is strength. And most importantly, it is the bridge between your pain and your peace. When someone's words cut deep, the first thought that often enters our mind is, why me? What did I do to deserve this? But the truth is, people rarely speak from who you are. They speak from what they carry inside. Hurtful words are often not a reflection of your character, but of their own struggles, insecurities, and inner wounds. Think of it like a cup filled with bitter liquid. When shaken, the cup doesn't spill water. If water wasn't inside, it spills only what it holds. In the same way, when life shakes a person, what spills out of them is what they have been carrying within. If it is anger, anger will come out. If it is insecurity, insecurity will come out. If it is love and kindness, then that too will flow. This is why pain should never be taken as a weapon to strike back, but as a mirror that helps you see where someone truly stands within themselves. Imagine a person walking in a crowded market with a broken arm. Every time someone brushes past them, they flinch and cry out in pain. The people around may not have meant to hurt them, but because of their brokenness, even a slight touch feels unbearable. Similarly, when someone lashes out at you with harsh words, they are showing you their brokenness, not your worth. If we understand this, we stop internalizing every negative comment as a judgment on us, and instead we start seeing it as a reflection of what they are battling inside. Let me share an example from daily life. Picture a young employee in an office who has worked tirelessly on a project. During a meeting, her senior criticizes her harshly, calling her work callous and useless. She feels shattered. Her first instinct is to cry or defend herself angrily. But later, she learns that her senior had just been scolded by the boss earlier that morning and was under immense pressure. The criticism was less about her work and more about his frustration. Once she sees this truth, her pain transforms. Instead of seeing herself as unworthy, she begins to understand that his words were a mirror of his stress, not her incompetence. The wound turns into wisdom when you recognize the difference. Think about your own life. How many times have you said something hurtful when you were stressed, tired, or frustrated, and later regretted it? Didn't your words in those moments reflect your inner state more than the person you said them to? If we can forgive ourselves for those moments, can we not also extend that understanding to others? This perspective changes everything. You stop fighting battles that were never about you in the first place. The danger of taking pain as a weapon is that it creates a cycle. Someone hurts you, you react with equal sharpness. They feel attacked and respond with more intensity, and the cycle goes on. Two people who were once close drift apart because both forgot one simple truth. The pain wasn't personal, it was a reflection of inner struggles. But when you see pain as a mirror, you step out of this cycle. Instead of reacting with anger, you begin to respond with compassion or, at times, silence. You no longer see the need to defend yourself against something that was never truly about you. Think of a parent and child. The child throws a tantrum, screaming, shouting, sometimes even saying hurtful things like, "I hate you." A wise parent does not take those words literally because they know the child doesn't mean hate. They mean hunger, tiredness, or a need for attention. The parent sees beyond the words to the state of the child's heart. If we can do this with children, why not also with adults? Often, people are just children carrying grown-up bodies, still crying out in their own way because of wounds they never healed. If we see this, instead of reacting to their hurt, we begin to see the pain behind it. This does not mean you allow disrespect or let others mistreat you. It means you don't let their pain define your response. You recognize their behavior as a mirror of them, not a measure of you. This awareness gives you freedom. It protects your peace. It allows you to hold your dignity even in the face of insult. Because when you stop absorbing their negativity, you stop letting them control your emotional state. The deepest transformation comes when you realize that every painful encounter can teach you something about life, about people, and about yourself. Pain is like a teacher. It shows you the reality of others and the strength within you. If someone criticizes you unfairly, maybe it is a lesson in patience. If someone betrays you, maybe it is a lesson in choosing trust wisely. If someone disrespects you, maybe it is a lesson in valuing yourself enough to walk away. But in every case, the pain is not meant to break you. It is meant to reveal something deeper about life. So the next time someone hurts you, pause and ask, is this really about me, or is this about them? Most often, you will see it is about them. And once you see that, you are no longer a victim, you are an observer. You don't react with bitterness because you know their words are a mirror, not your truth. And in that realization, you discover the rare kind of strength that very few people ever learns, the strength to rise above pain without carrying it inside. Our ego is always restless. It constantly wants to prove itself, defend itself, and ensure that no one ever thinks less of us. That is why when someone hurts us, the ego instantly pushes us to react, to argue, to fight, to attack, or to prove our point louder than the other person. But in the middle of all this noise, our soul quietly waits, whispering something different. The soul does not want victory in an argument. It wants peace in the heart. And peace never comes through reacting from ego. It only comes when we learn to respond from the deeper connection with God within us. Think about how easily we allow ego to guide us. A colleague criticizes us at work, and suddenly we feel the need to prove our worth to make sure no one thinks we are weak. A friend makes a joke at our expense, and ego demands that we fire back with a sharper joke. A stranger insults us on the road, and ego whispers, "Show them who you are." But if we look carefully, we will see that every time we act from ego, we do not feel lighter afterwards. We feel heavier. Our mind keeps replaying the scene, our heart keeps boiling, and our peace is lost. Winning the argument does not always mean winning in life. Sometimes it means losing our inner balance. On the other hand, when we turn inward in that moment of hurt and ask, "What would God want me to do now?" the entire atmosphere changes. Instead of reacting from ego, we respond from a place of wisdom. Sometimes the divine answer comes in the form of silence, because silence can often say more than words ever can. Sometimes it comes in the form of gentle words that soothe instead of inflame. Sometimes it guides us to walk away with dignity instead of lowering ourselves into unnecessary conflict. And every time we respond in alignment with God's guidance, we walk away feeling lighter, calmer, and stronger. Let's take an everyday example. Imagine you are in a heated argument with a loved one. They are upset, their words are sharp, and your ego is on fire. If you respond instantly from that place, you will throw back words that cut even deeper. But if you take a deep breath and remind yourself, "My ego wants to win, but my soul wants peace," you pause. And in that pause, you connect with the divine presence within you. You ask silently, "What is the higher response here?" And maybe the guidance is to say nothing at all, to let the other person pour out their frustration while you remain calm. Later, when the storm has passed, you are able to have a more constructive and compassionate conversation. By not reacting from ego, you preserve the relationship instead of damaging it. Another example is on the road. Someone cuts you off aggressively while driving. Ego says, "Honk back, shout, show them they cannot disrespect you." But what happens if you listen to ego? The anger stays with you for hours. You narrate the story to others, and your entire day is poisoned by a stranger who you will probably never see again. But if, in that split second, you choose to connect with God within, the response becomes different. You may smile at their haste, let them pass, and keep your peace. The incident ends in seconds, and your heart remains light. Ego would have made you carry anger for hours, but God allows you to release it instantly. This principle is powerful because it teaches us that control is not about dominating others, but about mastering ourselves. Ego thinks strength is about raising our voice, but real strength is about raising our consciousness. Responding with God means asking, "Does this action add peace to my heart, or does it take it away?" If it takes peace away, then no matter how strong the words feel, they are not truly powerful. If it adds peace, even if it is silence, then that is the true victory. There is a story about a wise monk who was insulted repeatedly by a man in the village. Every day, the man would hurl abuse, trying to provoke him. But the monk always smiled and walked away. One day, a student asked, "Master, why do you never respond to him? Doesn't it hurt?" The monk replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong? It remains with the giver. His insults are his gifts. I don't accept them, so they remain with him." This is the essence of responding with God, not ego. When you refuse to pick up negativity, it never enters your soul. We all face moments when we feel compelled to defend ourselves. But defending is not always necessary when you know your worth in God. People may misunderstand you, criticize you, or misjudge you, but your peace does not need to depend on their opinion. When you let God guide your response, you realize that silence is not weakness, calmness is not surrender, and walking away is not defeat. They are higher forms of strength that ego can never understand. So the next time you are hurt, pause and listen closely. There will be two voices inside you, ego screaming for reaction and soul whispering for peace. The voice you choose will define not only that moment, but the quality of your life. Choose God, and you will walk away with peace. Choose ego, and you will walk away with regret. Respond with God, not with ego, and you will never lose yourself in the process of proving yourself.